The Town of No Return. Chapter 1. The Roadblock. The Matthews family, Jim, Tabitha, and their children, Julie and Ethan, were on a road trip across the United States. They were driving their large RV when they saw a huge fallen tree blocking the road. 2 crows flew into the sky. Jim turned the vehicle around to find a different route. However, after driving for an hour, they saw the same fallen tree again. They were confused and scared. They realized they were driving in circles, even though the road was straight. Chapter 2. The Crash. As they drove through a small, old town for the second time, the family panicked. Jim drove too fast and swerved to avoid another car. The RV crashed onto its side in the forest. The other car, driven by a man named Jade and his friend, also crashed. Suddenly, people from the town ran toward them. A man named Boyd, the town sheriff, shouted at them. "We have to go inside," he yelled. "Night is coming." Chapter 3. The Monsters. The sun went down. In this town, terrifying creatures come out at night. They look like normal humans with smiles on their faces, but they are actually deadly monsters. They walk slowly, but they are very strong. They cannot enter a house if a special stone, called a talisman, is hanging by the door. Boyd managed to save Jim and Ethan, taking them inside. However, the monsters surrounded the crashed RV where Tabitha and Julie were hiding. Chapter 4. The Two Groups. The next morning, the Matthews family learned the rules of the town. Everyone who arrives gets stuck there. You cannot leave. The residents live in 2 separate places. The first is the town, where people try to live normal lives under Sheriff Boyd's strict rules. The second is Colony House, a large mansion on a hill where people live like a hippie community. They share everything and have fewer rules. The family had to choose where to live. Chapter 5. Separation. The stress was too much for the family. Julie, the teenage daughter, chose to live in Colony House to get away from her parents. Jim and Tabitha stayed in the town with little Ethan. Jim, who was an engineer, started looking for a way to escape. Jade, the wealthy man from the other car, thought it was an escape room game at first. When he realized it was real, he began to lose his mind. Chapter 6. The Boy and the Weirdo. Little Ethan started seeing a strange man named Victor. Victor had lived in the town since he was a child. He was strange and quiet, but he knew more about the town than anyone else. Victor showed Ethan the faraway trees. These were magical trees. If you climbed inside one, you would be teleported to a random location. Victor believed the town was moving towards something bad. Chapter 7. The Voices. A quiet waitress named Sarah started hearing voices in her head. The voices told her that if she killed a young boy, everyone could go home. Sarah was terrified, but she believed the voices. She tried to kill Ethan, but she failed. She accidentally caused the death of her own brother instead. Boyd discovered what she did, but instead of punishing her, he decided to take her on a dangerous mission into the forest. Chapter 8. The Radio Tower. Jim and Jade came up with a plan. They wanted to build a radio antenna on top of Colony House. They believed that if they could get the antenna high enough, they could send a signal for help. The whole town worked together to build the tower. They used parts from cars and radios. It was their first real hope in a long time. Tabitha, meanwhile, started digging a hole in the basement of their house to see where the electric wires went. Chapter 9: The Storm. While Jim built the tower, Boyd and Sarah walked deep into the forest. They found strange things like spiders and a lighthouse in the distance. Back in town, a massive storm arrived as the radio tower was finished. They turned on the radio and heard static. Suddenly, a voice answered. Jim was excited. "Hello? Can you hear us?" he asked. The voice replied, "Jim, your wife shouldn't be digging that hole." Chapter 10: The Bus. Jim was shocked. The monsters, or whoever controlled the town, were watching them. At that exact moment, the floor in the basement collapsed, and Tabitha fell into a tunnel full of monsters sleeping underground. Outside, just as the rain stopped, a large commercial bus arrived in the town. New people had arrived, and the nightmare was about to start all over again. To be continued.
New souls arrive, just trying to stay alive. Oh,